So when we open up, it's black screen, but we hear sounds of chatter and laughter. And that was interesting because I was like, where are we going to be if we're hearing like chatter and laughter? And I thought immediately, oh, we're going to be in Canada because where do you hear chatter and laughter? Canada. We don't hear it in Gilead. We just hear birds and gunshots and ambulances. But no, we've got chatter and laughter. And we are immediately plunged into a flashback with Jezebels, long lost Jezebels. And June is dancing with Fred, and I was like momentarily confused by this again. Like it was just the time and place with this flashback was very disorienting to be thrust into it, like right out of the gates. And I thought that was really, really cool, but I feel like it was so artfully done. And I also didn't realize that the monologue was meant to be like her internal self-talk so she could keep up her act with Fred so she didn't like, kill him right there on the dance floor.
I really like that they started the episode with that flashback because it really does put you right back into that like skin crawling feeling of Jezebels and Fred specifically. Like I think over all these seasons with all the horrific things that you see, you kind of forget some of it and specifics a lot. And so to think about like, because June has been at Jezebel's a lot, and especially with Fred, but even it's where she killed Winslow. Like there's just a lot of history with June and Jezebels. And so to start the episode off with that scene where he's just touching her and there's nothing she can do about it but pretend to enjoy it. And I just think it was the perfect way to start off this episode, knowing, especially on the rewatch, I appreciate it 100% more on the rewatch, knowing where this episode was going and how it was going to end. And I'm like, oh, that was well done. I appreciate all of the flashbacks, but especially starting with this one. But like when she's walking to go meet him too, and it jumps back and forth between her and like the bells chiming and she's going to the ceremony, it's that same thing of like, God, it was so horrific. At least you can understand where that anger is coming from.
I just saw an article with Bruce Miller where he was talking about this episode, and he was saying that that's what they do throughout the episode is they give you reminders about how disgusting and awful and terrible Fred is. And he's like, yeah, as if we need reminders. But for those of you that do, here are your reminders. We already have 3 seasons of what a complete shitbag Fred is. But here's just a little bit more, just in case you weren't fucking getting it the first 3 seasons. Here you go. And I really appreciated that. I don't know, her monologue is just beautiful. Like, she is saying it like she's coaching herself to say these things almost. Like, it's like she's saying it in a way like she is talking to Fred to like put herself in that mindset. Pretend you love it. Pretend you want him. He is your commander. Make him your whole world. Your sun, your moon, all your stars. Make him believe, because your motherfucking life depends on it. Don't run. Don't kick. Don't scream. Don't bite it off. Don't bite. And she's looking at the camera with that last word, and it was so perfect. Do you think that the Sun, Moon, Stars thing was a Game of Thrones nod? Because there were people chattering all over Twitter.
Were
about
they?
that
It's funny because
night. A lot of people were like, "Oh my God, it's a Game of Thrones reference."
So like my mind went there, but my mind also was like, "All right, tamp it down. It's not really a Game of Thrones reference." Is I guess where I'm at with it.
Me too. Now, like watching it, the second or third time around, I was like tossing it around, and I'm like,
The only
no. I don't
think
so.
that they would make a Game of Thrones reference, but I do like that if they are going to make one, in this particular scene, at least they're also making one that correlates with another couple who got their start, because of rape. So,
That's true. That is true.
Oh, true. Yeah.
True.
So
yeah,
it seems less far fetched when you consider that it was Khal Drogo. Is that am I pronouncing that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Daenerys. So. I can see that, but also I think that's kind of a bit of a stretch.
Yeah. Yes. I wasn't really willing to entertain it too much, and now I'm so
Yeah,
no, I don't
same
think
here.
That's what they were going with.
I love that you brought up that she dead-eye stared into the camera at the end of this.
Oh, she does that.
Yes,
so
she
much.
does. And my thought on this, my theory is that like they filmed it intentionally like that like these pivotal moments to like make it look like June is breaking the fourth wall and staring at the audience and like reminding them of like, these are all of the awful things he has done and he must be accountable for them, and I'm looking to you to be like, you know this too, right? You have to know this.
Yeah.
It felt like that's what, like, considering it happened, what, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in the episode.
Yeah. You know what else I took from that was when she does that, especially in this scene with the monologue, she's talking about how in Gilead, she's really been conditioned to clamp down any emotions. She can't show anything she's feeling outwardly.
Mm-hmm.
And so when she does that like deadpan, like break the fourth wall look into the camera throughout this episode, what it's really doing is showing and reminding everyone that it is all an act, that everything she's doing with Fred and Gilead, this is all just her suppressing all of her emotions. And she tries to do it through this episode too. And then by the end, we see that rage that's really bubbling. But many of the times when she's breaking that fourth wall, it's because she really is seething inside. And that's what I took away from that shot. You know, it looks like if you took that monologue away, it looks like two people enjoying a night out.
But if you just look very closely, you know, she's sending you those signals throughout the entire episode that she is absolutely volatile. There is a monster lurking beneath. And it's a good monster.
Like Elmo.
And there's also a beer out there called Good Monster, and I thought about getting it today.